So literally, I got this in the mail today. Walmart is the bane of my existence at times. This, by the way, is $26, and I don't know, let's see if the camera can pick this up. All right, this is how they ship things. So, I guess this is a good time to bring up too. I am an adult that collects wrestling figures. It's like we were talking about this yesterday. It's like the Shane Gillis thing where it's, I collect wrestling figures. Kind of makes me look like a bitch,
but I like it.
But I like it, right? Yes, and like literally, what the fuck, Walmart? Like this series, the Monday Night War series, is so hard to find, and then finally they add some online, and then they just send this shit. I
think a lot of normies are looking at it like, why did they spell his name wrong? Why is he spelling 6 with a Y?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and on top of that, like I love X-Pac and Sean Waltman, but like this is when you're spending $25 on a deeper cut like this, it's. I bought this because it has the Dusty Rhodes arms for the Build-A-Figure, and right now my Dusty Rhodes has no arms and no head.
See, as if he didn't look like a bitch already. On top of this, he's not even the kind of person that likes to keep them in the box anyway. He likes to take them out and, fling them and stuff. And he's still complaining about the box. Quality.
No, yeah. So that's the other thing is, I'm bitching about this, even though I'm totally gonna rip it out of the box and everything. I'm just saying, give me a nice box to like enjoy opening this. Okay, like if I'm gonna be an adult in my 30s opening toys, then I want to do it the right way. Damn it!
It is part of the experience. Is opening stuff like it's Christmas Day on like a random day in January or something, and just seeing that. Yeah, I've kind of forced myself to jump out of it as maybe like a 17-year-old. But I mean, I am an adult that gets Funkos.
Kevin Owens has that story where he's talking about like wrestling with his figures. He's like, I was wrestling with my figures or whatever Canadian accent is. And he's like, I used to play the music for the wrestlers to come down, and I had Stone Cold, and I wanted the glass to break, but the music wasn't cutting it. Like I needed something with an effect. So I took a mug and I threw it against the wall as hard as I could, and it went straight through the wall.
But it made the noise.
It's like it went straight through the wall. I was 17.
It was last week.
Yeah, it was like last week.
That guy is living the dream though, because he did that. He could tell that story on TV, but also literally main event of WrestleMania with Stone Cold.
Yeah. Well, he said too. He's like when I asked him to use the stunner, part of the reasoning was I was thinking is like, well, if he ever comes back, he's probably gonna end up having to do a match with the person that's doing his move. And he's like, and sure enough, and everyone grows up, I think like if you're a young boy and you love wrestling, you grow up like thinking you're gonna like be a wrestler.
100%.
Something like that. And I remember just growing up thinking that like, oh, like I'm gonna be homies with Jeff Hardy and everything, and Lita's gonna be there, it's so cool, and Stone Cold's gonna be like my dad and all that and everything. It's gonna be so sick. And it didn't end up happening. But I did take a few bumps in the ring. That's for another time. Like before I digress and lose progress, I got back into wrestling figure collecting in like this last summer, which has been an amazing healing experience for my childhood, but also terrible for my wallet. I've lost my wrestling collection 2 or 3 times in my life, and this is like my 4th time rebuilding it. And I think in the last 6 months, every time when I was a kid, I probably got up to like 150 figures. Then some traumatic thing would happen where I would lose them. And then I think I'm up to 150 figures again, but in like 6 months versus like what would have taken me like 4 or 5 years.
Damn.
And by the way, I'm not proud to say this, every figure I've bought has been brand new in box. So speaking of that, when we talk about, and by the way, let me just get on my old man horse for a second. $23 for a fucking figure now. Went back in my day, a figure was $8.99 or something like that. Maybe $11.99.
I remember those days. I was a part of that. I'm not a part of paying $24 for a No Elite Scott Hall or like. It is rough. But here's the thing, and I always say this like, this is the Build-A-Figure. So here's the thing. You find all 4 in the series, the Litas. I have all of these except Ultimate Warrior.
But you buy all this, you spend $100 for 4 figures, but then you get the build a figure, so that's 5 figures. So I mean, who's getting ripped off really? I'm just saying.
Liz, you are strong for dealing with this every day.
She's no, and then I mean, but let me show you something that came in the mail. This one is crazy. So this is actually what they call a Mattel Creations exclusive or whatever. So they'll put out like more rare figures. What I'm about to pull out is very niche unless you like grew up or you have an appreciation for the Attitude Era. This cost me over $50, okay? But it is the Headbangers.
Oh my God.
Yeah, is the Headbangers Tag Team Elite set.
Is you could not get more deep cut than that. I mean, don't get me wrong, that looks fucking sick.
Right?
But
the packaging.
God.
Yeah, and like honestly, this is something, if this showed up with the damaged packaging, I would probably throw a bit of a bitch fit, even though I am gonna open this and I am gonna look under their skirts. Like, the fact of the matter is, this costs like $55. And the fact that I've spent more money on toys in my 30s than maybe my whole 20s and like everything before that combined is saying something. But you know what? I'm having fun with it. They haven't even seen the mess of I have the ultimate rings and I got like figures over here. And when my setup is up, we will do a video. And we brought all this up to also say that our channel is going to start doing like unboxing videos, and I'll probably be unboxing like vinyls and stuff, but a lot of wrestling figures, because look, like, I gotta share it with someone if I'm dropping this much money, and I should really slow down because like it's getting out of hand.
But will you?
Probably not, unless my credit cards get
unless they throw you an intervention, How I Met Your Mother style.
Yeah. I mean, when people like use credit cards for like emergencies and stuff like that. There's a bit of this on there. I feel like this. I'm reckless with my money, but in a girl math kind of way, where it's just like, yes, I could be using this money for other things, but I have it all planned out. Like, I know how I'm gonna pay off this $50 Mosher set. I have a plan to like what I'm gonna sell so I can get this thing. It's always like a back and forth.
And then, when that foils, he's got to open up another credit card
Exactly.
because they just dropped a new variant of Attitude Era debut Chris Jericho, which he opened for, by the way. We talked about that.
This guy right here, opened for him, straight up. I mean, this is he's a lot younger here, but still,
he's a lot younger there, but they still have his modern tattoos from.
Yeah, or maybe it was when he dressed up like that. At the same time, look, I mean, everyone's got their hobby. You have quite the funko. I mean, actually, you have a lot of shit. Like,
yeah, me and my girlfriend, we kind of split our Funko collection up a little bit. It's bad, but it's definitely, we're both like mutually in a point where like, one, I mean, we've been both getting rid of shit for a long time, and then two, we are just extra cautious of buying any more of that stuff because unless it's something that like we really want, I mean, it eats up a lot of room, and
yes, and money. Look, a Funko, because we don't live we're in Hollywood, like the Funko store isn't too far away, but yeah, Funkos definitely like jump up in price. And I was such a shit talker on people that collected stuff like all in my 20s, because I just went through this phase where I was like, I don't want a bunch of stuff. Boy, has that changed. The pandemic came, and then I got some hobbies, and then it just fucked everything.
Yeah, you became a materialistic person overnight.
Yeah, exactly. I just capitalism has just got me.
Capitalism has swept you under its pussy and just tickle.
Yeah. So I mean, it's been a thing, but I will say this: collecting has been cool. I've started to get back into it, and yeah, it's fun. And honestly, it kind of got me back into wrestling, or even more back into wrestling than I already was. But you got the Funkos, you have a ton of posters. What else do you?
I got me some title belts. Even the belt that you see behind him, if we're really breaking that wall down, is mine.
Yeah.
I mean, one day I'll do a nice little show and tell here of all the fun shit I have. But I mean, I have a belt that's signed by like almost every Ruthless Aggression star that has held the world heavyweight title. And yeah.
I also think too, though, it's like, and maybe this is an ADHD thing, but when you hyperfixate on something, I will hyperfixate on something for months at a time. And the thing that I dislike so much is, and people out there who are, on the spectrum or whatever, like that, they'll get this, but you will find
The
something.
Elon Musks out there will get it.
Yeah, the people out there, like, where you're just like, you'll find something and you're like, yo, I just saw a video about making candles. I'm gonna fucking start a candle company. I'm gonna make candles that smell like Disneyland and smell like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. And then you spend a week learning how to make fucking candles, and then you never make a candle. Or you're like, you know what? I want to learn to make like fucking body butter or something like that. Whatever it is, just some weird thing.
Literally, like every week during COVID, it was like, my dream is to become a tattoo artist. My dream is to become a photographer. My dream is to, become like fucking, and then just out of nowhere, you pick up like 40 things in the span of a few months, and then it's like, screenwriter, fucking, like all the stuff. And then, musician, all that, and then some of those things end up staying with you. Some of those things don't. Some of those things are like, okay, you'll go ahead and put that in the back of your head for, a few years, come back to it. And then one day you're, just drunk, getting shown a fucking show, and you text your homie and it's like, yo, podcast. It's gonna be sick.
And then here you are just explaining like where all your money goes.
Yeah.
But what I've learned though, and this is the biggest tip I can give to anyone out there that like is always starting and stopping stuff. You have to look at what in your life you've like kept up with, and then find hobbies that surround that. So for me, music and wrestling has always been that thing. So if I do anything in that realm, usually I'll stick to it. So because those two things are like the two constants in my life that like I've always had an interest in. If I picked up, I remember one time I spent like $80 on painting supplies. I'm like, I'm just going to paint. And it turned into $80 worth of shit that just sat there. I ended up giving it to a homeless dude that painted me a picture. His name was Capasso Joe.
And what did he paint you a picture of? I
have no idea what it is.
Damn.
It was a lot. He also had like cocaine. I'm not even joking. This was in front of a hot chicken spot in Orange County. And he had like all this paraphernalia and everything. And he was trying to steal like a canvas from Ross. And I was like, hey man, like I live across the block. I have all this stuff. I'll just give it to you. So I came back and I gave it to him. And then he has like all his paraphernalia laid out and everything. And he's like, I'll paint you a picture. And he's dropping paint all over their tables and everything.
Nice.
I could see like he has all this sketchy stuff out. I'm like, if the cops drive by and I'm like caught up in this bullshit or whatever.
Well, the straight edge person would be caught up with the possession of drugs.
Yeah. But it's just like the fact of the matter is, I try to stick to hobbies that are within like my two passions, which is like that's music and wrestling. So vinyl collecting, I got bit by that bug a few years ago, and that I also went through a real like. I feel like you go through ebbs and flows. There will be months. I remember there were months where I was getting like a vinyl every like 3 days or something.
Yeah,
right?
I definitely did that.
And then you're always checking like the sale things on Reddit and everything. You're just trying to find like whatever deals you can. So I mean, my collection of vinyl is probably like, as much, if not more than my wrestlers. And I got into that maybe like a little over 2-3 years ago. My thing was this, I would buy ever since 2014-15, I bought a vinyl a year, like on record store day. But now, once I got bit by that, it was just like all hands off.
The most dangerous thing about that, regardless of any of these things, is that it just never fucking ends.
Yeah.
So we here are not condoning anyone to do this, but.
Well, and the thing too here's what's crazy. If you collected wrestling figures in the early 2000s or 90s, they didn't make Legends figures. It wasn't like in 1998 you could go to the aisle and buy a Bruno Sammartino figure. But then all of a sudden in like 2004, 5, or 6, whenever they released the classics, all of a sudden nostalgia became a thing in like wrestling figures. And so now you could just buy stuff from any era and they can pump out like whatever they want.
Well, that is definitely a thing, is like nostalgia definitely, it's like, for whatever reason, like the capitalist Jesuses of the world have just like thrown it onto our generation to go ahead and, emo music. Okay, here's an entire festival for it. Wrestling. Okay, we will pay John Cena fucking $50 million to do a final run, and okay, we'll drop all these nostalgia things here and there, and Fuller House, that '90s show, all of
Yeah.
these things like that have catered to us, but it's
and it's got us by the throat.
it's got me. It has grabbed everyone by the pussy out here.
Yeah, but like at the same time, it just, I don't know. Collecting, buying this stuff has been cool, but stick to your lane. If you love cooking or whatever, then get into a hobby that like outside of cook is something that's semi-related, like gardening, stuff that you can use to cook or whatever. Same thing with music. Like being a musician and producing and all that stuff. Collecting music-related things fits that void. Now, though, I've been on the wrestling figure kick. I'm sure there's going to be a time where this will slow down, and then like I'll pick the vinyl thing back up, or I'll find something else. You're always looking for the next hit.
You'll just get hit with something out of nowhere, or just something that you get too caught up in or hit up for. Like, I remember you texted me one day, like the middle of the night, and we're just like, I just missed out on the opportunity to do who was it in AEW's theme music?
Oh yeah, that was and
could have done.
And
the
I was
theme
just
songs.
like, oh, are you that
would have been your way back in.
Yeah, exactly. So and that all came from like just not paying attention to what's going on. I mean, I was so gripped I was living in a studio for a while, and one of my only sources of joy was like getting back into these figures. Also, another dangerous thing about collecting, by the way, is that you set a certain like level of what's okay to spend money on, like, and then what, like, after that point you're not going to spend money on. So for instance, there's like a ceiling of like, watch, if I told you a slice of pizza is $5, you'd be like, oh, okay, like whatever, like $5 I'll pay it. But if I told you this slice of pizza is $18, you would be like, well, then no, I'm not going to buy that, right? For me, for years in my 20s and everything, after getting out of wrestling figures, when I would always check the aisles, no matter if I was buying wrestlers or not, just to see like what they had. And always, I knew in my head, I was like, $20 for a wrestler is ridiculous. If they were on super sale, I remember like 5 years ago, I bought like 4 of them because they were $7 a piece or something. But I was like, $20 is ridiculous. And I thought the same thing with vinyl too. I was like, $30 for one record when I pay for Spotify. Fuck that.
Yeah.
But what ends up happening is if you convince your brain that it's normal, that's when you go down the slope, right? Because I eventually normalized myself to like, oh, it's only $20 for a figure. Because by the way, newsflash, they have ultimate figures and like all this other stuff that are $35, $40, $50. So when you see something for $20 out in the wild, you're like, oh yeah, I mean, 20 bucks is $20.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I'm not gay, but
yeah, but
maybe a little.
For figures.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so it's like that's where the danger comes in. Once you they talk about when the more money you make, you start to elevate your lifestyle, and how that's not good. It's not smart financially or whatever.
Yeah.
You always have to think that $20 is expensive, and then and you'll be good. But for me, once I was just like, yeah, I'll spend $75 on or 70 something dollars on a 1975 record, that because it has liquid in it and it's a limited run or whatever.
Yeah, Matt Healy he soothes the soul sometimes.
Yeah, he also has me by the throat.
Yeah, Matty Healy got all of us by the way.
Yeah. So but at the same time, it's like the most expensive vinyl you've ever bought.
Oh man, fuck, I don't know. I see. I'm way more conscious about it because if it's I see anything over $30 scares me in general. I don't care what it is. I'm just like, how am I gonna pay rent next week?
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. I mean, probably. I think I have a Chili Peppers album that's like, their minimums are usually like $34.99 in record stores. So probably Californication or something like that. But it's not even like a special edition or anything like that.
I've definitely in one shopping spree probably dropped like $250 on vinyls.
Yeah, I've done that combination, but like one singular one, no.
So mine would be, I think the two most expensive records that I own. One is I have a Bad World 1975 liquid record. So it's got like the cool blue liquid on, like in a see-through vinyl. And that was like $70, and that was a UK release. So I got that, and then the Titanic 25th anniversary
Let's
soundtrack.
fucking go.
Yeah, straight all the way from Ireland. That one was like $70 something as well.
I thought you were gonna say straight from the Atlantic.
Yeah. So and that one was I by the way, we'll get into that like at some point too. I have a bit of a Titanic fascination, so I got stuff all over the house with that. I have a piece of coal from the Titanic in this house.
That's actually pretty sick.
Yeah. So I mean, and I'm not bragging, but I've been to the Las Vegas museum.
I've been
twice.
to the museum.
Yeah. I've been to the museum. I learned some shit.
I learned some shit.
Yeah. Fucking, did you know that Rose wasn't a real person?
Dude, okay, I'm gonna say that I've never been to the Titanic museum, but I did go to the Zach Bagans Haunted Museum in Vegas.
Okay.
And nothing there, like, did I feel anything? Not that I'm like, super wildly, feel things when, you're around that stuff. But the only time I did is they had a mirror of the captain's like they had a mirror that was owned by the captain of the Titanic, and I looked into it and fucking felt like someone punched me right in the chest, and I was like, I gotta go. I gotta leave this room right now.
That's pretty trippy.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I just think that out of all of the things to collect, one thing that I could probably see myself getting into is just weird little artifacts and stuff like that, like old coins from like the 1600s. Or there's actually this store on Etsy that's like Cursed Antiques.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically this girl that just goes around to like different stores and finds these, like literally that, just like these antiques that look cursed or whatever. I can see myself getting into on Etsy right now. There's some dude that's selling Captain Hook's hand. That's like a cut off hand that's in a box. And it's paper mache. Okay. It's
Damn.
not, yeah. But I was like, that's pretty sick. Is it $80 sick? And so it's been in my cart forever. But eventually I'm going to normalize to that $80. And then before you know it, I'm going to have Captain Hook's hand. Figure wise though, I just bought my most expensive figure ever, like single figure, which is the Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 12 coming down from the rafters.
Does he come with the zip line?
He does come with the zip line. So actually, that will be an unboxing. You'll see that next week because that's when it's supposed to show up. That one was like $55.
So anyone listening or watching, if you have any crazy shit that is like absolutely like such a ludicrous purchase that you had absolutely no business buying, let us know.
I feel like we should put up some sort of like, if you're having like the gambling addiction or whatever, like if you're addicted to buying something, like call this number.
Yeah, we can do that very well. Come on, DraftKings, like sponsor us.
There's definitely been stuff that I bought. See, right now on Facebook Marketplace, they have a plank from the Titanic ship, the movie, not the one that not the real one, and it's like $265 for one like little plank of wood, and I'm just sitting here like, yeah, but that was on it. That my boy Leo, like my boy DiCaprio, could have been walking on that. Kate Winslet could have walked on that plank.
Yeah, or honestly, like if she loved him so much, like just sacrifice yourself.
Yeah,
Kate Winslet, like Leo is, he's got some Wall Street movies to make. He's got some movies about wrestling a bear to make. He's got all these things. Kate Winslet, let him on it.
Hey, but she had to make movies with Jim Carrey, like
That's true.
Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and everything. Which,
you know what? As much of a wannabe cinephile as I am, I have yet to see that movie.
she did a movie where Jack Black was like her opposite too. I'm trying to remember what that was. But as I digress, and it's funny because I've worked like, for movie theaters doing premieres and all that for years. So I've met a shit ton of celebrities in passing. But for some reason, something like a little piece of board from like a movie from 25 years ago, I'm like, $265. I'm not that crazy. I'm not going to do that yet. But if I were to come into a stupid amount of money,
who's the last celebrity you ran into?
Ooh, okay. Last celebrity that I've run into. Honestly, I feel like I might be stumped, because I haven't been. I've been in the. Remember that video of Logic the rapper that's just like, oh, I don't fuck with anyone. I just I stay inside. Like that's been me. recently.
Me working events all the time.
Oh,
I just
yeah,
see
you're
people
probably around them a lot
nonstop.
more
I feel
than
like
I
the last
know.
person was Finn Wolfhard. Just kind of said what's up to him. My wolf was very hard. And but literally a day later, I saw the movie Saturday Night, the SNL movie, and he's just in it, like throwing around flyers, and it's just really weird seeing someone on the big screen in a movie that like you literally were like not hanging out with, but you know he was just in your vicinity 12 hours prior or something like that.
This was years ago, so this isn't the most recent celebrity, but I remember sometimes you see celebrities in interesting spots. Like I sat Mark Hoppus at like the Creed 2 premiere. I think
Ooh,
Creed or
that's
Creed
pretty hard.
Creed or Creed 2 is like one of those. I'm like, you know, I might have that.
Mark
mixed up,
Hoppus, a boxing fan. That's sick. That's extra bonus points.
So I think that might have been it. I could have been wrong. If Mark Hoppus is, it was some premiere in 2016. I get them all mixed up because I have a giant bag we'll go over one day that has a ton of my lanyards and all that stuff from those events. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know how we got on this topic, but like as far as movie like memorabilia and all that, I could totally see myself getting into that. On eBay right now, they have Mighty Joe Young's head, like animatronic head. I'm like, I'd fuck with that.
That's pretty fire.
That'd be pretty sick. So, you know, do you have any crazy memorabilia?
Dude, I just keep going back to my prized possession of my signed world heavyweight title. That is I mean, that's pretty much it. I want to own me a Thanos gauntlet. I want to own me I mean, I have a handful of Star Wars lightsabers and all that fun stuff that I have absolutely no business buying, but
Some show and tell, but like,
oh yeah. Yeah, this is mine. There's many like it, but this one is mine. And part in the leather because it's got to get repaired and shit. But what do I have on it? We got Randy Orton's signature right there. We got the game Triple H right there. The COO of WWE. We got Mr. Fozzy himself, Chris Jericho. We got Mr. Kurt Angle right here. We have the worst Alberto Del Rio signature of all time that you can barely see. Ooh. We got the potentially the next governor of Tennessee, Kane. We got Christian, who honestly, out of everyone here, like his signature just held up so well, even though it is just like scribbly. And then the world's strongest man, Mark Henry.
It's very eclectic.
Yeah. They've all held this belt before, and so have I. My name's on it.
That physical belt and the actual championship.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm just throwing that out there. But yeah, I don't know. I think that one thing that I kick myself for missing from a memorabilia standpoint is on Reverb one time. I saw that they were selling, this is getting really into the weeds, but they were selling the mandolin that was played on the intro of Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. And it was $800, and this is during COVID when you know a lot of people were getting that like fuck you money from like.
You were like, I need it.
If I just missed it or whatever, like it had just sold or whatever, and I was just like, good thing because that would have been something that I would have just I probably couldn't resist. Yeah. I would also think to myself like this will hold its value. I also saw Sebastian, one of Bad Omen's microphones on there too. And it was super cheap too. It was like the price of what the mic would be used.
I'll take one of those. You can just rub his saliva just right over here. I was wearing a Bad Omens hoodie last episode, but yeah, I do fuck with me some Bad Omens. Yeah, we'll try to not go on such a tangent about all the fucking fun shit that we've collected, although it is nice to kind of wave that giant dick flag around for everyone to see there.
We definitely I derailed this by just talking about all the shit that I've bought, but
the Royal Rumble's coming up extremely soon, so we'll probably jump in. I made a drinking game about the Rumble. I'll jump into that and a bunch of other fun shit in the coming days and weeks. We're probably going to be dropping every week now from here on out. So exactly. Get ready for that. So.
And it'll be longer, and hopefully like the production is going to be better. We're going to get better at this how we go. So if you love us now at our shitty, like whatever this is,
then you will really love us at our Shrexiest. And yes.